Hello, Hobson families. It's Pastor Tasha, and I wanted to do one of those after Easter stories again with you today. We've talked about how the grave was empty and Jesus is not there because he's alive. And we've also talked about how his friends were walking on a road and Jesus came and met them and their eyes were opened. Remember that picture I showed you of all the eyes that were opened when they met Jesus and they knew who he was? Well, today I want to tell you about one of the last stories we hear about Jesus and Peter together. Now, Peter, if you remember, was one of Jesus's best friends, but some things had gone pretty wrong with them. So we do this as our prayer box sometimes when we are together, if you remember. And I want you to imagine that this box is the friendship between Peter and between Jesus and their relationship to each other. You know, it had been so good for so long. They were so important to each other, and they loved each other, and everything was beautiful like this box. But then at the end of Jesus's earthly life, some things happened. You know how, like, when you see a red light, you're supposed to stop? Or when someone sees red, they're really angry? Well, Peter made a mistake. And he told everybody he didn't know who Jesus was. And then, Peter followed that up with another mistake, and he ran away. And he wanted to go hide because he was scared. And then, Peter actually made another mistake. He thought he might take over what Jesus wanted to do, and he thought maybe he should draw a sword and do battle with people and cause harm and hurt people. And Jesus said, no, that's not what any of this is about. And so Peter made another mistake. And by the time we have our story, look at their relationship. Golly, it's like the whole box is empty. That beautiful relationship they had. Peter made so many mistakes, and he's so sad about so many things that it's all empty now. And in our story, Jesus meets Peter, and he says, can we go have a talk together? Can we go for a walk and have a conversation? So they do. And Peter doesn't know what they're going to talk about. But Jesus says to him, he says, Peter, do you love me? Now, you remember what we put in this box sometimes when we're together? You see them? We put these hearts, don't we, as our prayers. So I've got them here today because Jesus said to Peter, do you love me, Peter? And Peter said, I do love you, Jesus, I love you. And then Jesus said to him again, Peter, though, do you love me? And Peter said, yeah, Lord, I love you. And then Jesus said a third time, he said, Peter, do you love me? Do you have love for me? And Peter said, Lord, you know everything. Jesus, you know everything. You know that I love you so much. And then Jesus said, well, then follow me. And look at that. That box we have that showed the relationship that got all emptied out because of Peter's mistakes. Look at that. Jesus fills it all back in, and he says, I just want to know if you love me. Do you love me? Now, I want you to think about this week. Is there maybe somebody you need to tell them you love them this week? Maybe there's somebody who there's been some rotten things come out this week. Maybe you yelled at somebody, or maybe you hit, or maybe you were mean. You made a mistake. Well, you know what? It really can be fixed, and it can be full again. This can be full again if you'll say, you know what? I love you, though. I love you. Let's say a prayer, okay? You repeat after me. Dear Lord, thank you for your love. Help us to love you and to love others. Amen. I will see you next week.